Alright, I have been struggling to talk about this for a long time, but I've really wanted to. Truly, the more affecting things for you are the harder things to talk about, aren't they? So anyway, here it goes. Hello, Ron. I have not been good with all the things that have been going on in my life over the last year. Things have not been great. I talked before about working at a hotel before and how awful that has been. Not being able to do anything. Basically, the only thing I've been able to do was go to the barely functional mall and watch a movie if there was anything. And there was Thunderbolts. In this shitty city, no one was interested, and the movie theater put it in the premium movie theater, and I had to pay more, but whatever. I've got problems. I've got completionism problems. I haven't watched Captain America 4, yet I decided to go see Thunderbolts. That speaks to how bad that movie is and how much my interest has fallen in the MCU. And also to how much I've fallen and been broken by work. But whatever. This city is so trash that nobody was interested in the movie, so I ended up watching the movie in a special theater with comfortable armchairs. And on top of that, I had the whole room to myself since nobody came. This will be relevant later. This is a hard video or review for me to make. Genuinely, like this and Transformers 1, it's hard for me to talk about this because it affected me so much. I'm a person who really hates spoilers, and I knew nothing about this movie before it coming out. Barely even saw a poster too. Actually, that might be another similarity between this and Transformers 1, the poor marketing. Anyway, this movie stars characters nobody remembers because they're almost all bad characters from bad movies and shows. We've got Yelena and her dad from the impeccable Black Widow, including Taskmaster, Ghost from maybe the worst MCU movie ever made, not Captain America, and not Veep from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and finally a man who isn't really interested in the MCU anymore. Seriously, just looking at the marketing and cross-promotion between this and Marvel Rivals, look at Sebastian Stan in the promo.
Hey chat, Sebastian Stan here. I'm so excited for you to watch today's stream and check out some special clips from Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts.
Sheesh. Yeah, that's a pretty big ensemble cast, and I think they dealt with it pretty well. The MCU has some lacking star power, and they're definitely not picking from the top of the barrel anymore to try and make something interesting. But I think they handled and got everyone up to speed with the characters pretty well. Yelena, how could we forget anyway? This was fun! Yelena calls the Red Guardian dad, and then you get it. Taskmaster, okay, Taskmaster didn't get anything, but face shifting beats copying your opponent. And Ghost, they just said she's tortured, which is fine. Who wants to be recapped on Ant-Man 2? Anyway, who wants a whole movie on each one? Those days are seemingly over. This movie definitely benefits from multiple rewatches. The movie starts off pretty quickly. Actually, on like rewatching, you notice that the pacing is actually pretty well out throughout the entire movie. This movie does benefit from multiple rewatches. The movie starts off pretty quickly and gives off its themes and messaging very fast. Yelena is going through the drag and everything and mundanity of it all, and on top of it dealing with the grief and trauma and depression of losing her sister. She goes to her dad and says she wants to quit work. He immediately protests and says what she does is amazing. He says how being a soldier, being glorious, having fame and fortune is the most important thing in life. She sees how her dad isn't really there and not really listening to her. A lot of the time when people speak, they don't want to just be listened to. They want to be heard, understood, and her dad isn't doing that, and instead focusing on what he is thinking about and what he would prioritize. She gives up on the topic and moves on. I honestly really get it. The going to work, trying to numb pain, trying to forget things, trying to not deal with things, and you know, I'll get into it later. The pacing in this movie is honestly really good. Like rewatching it again, you notice how one, they spread out the information very well. They characterize Veep, DeFontaine, I can't remember her first name, DeFontaine very well in the opening court scene. Honestly, kind of parallels like cocky right-wingy remarks, but that's not really for me to say right now, not the time right now. The movie gives information in a very efficient way. Most of the time, like the dialogue and what they show on scene is very efficient in what it does. And the movie's themes are just given right off the bat, and you can see it throughout the movie in each one of the characters almost. Not every one of the characters gets an equal amount of time, not like Ghost. Ghost doesn't really get anything, I think. Mainly, like, it is an ensemble cast, but the main character is definitely Yelena. But other than that, I mean, definitely Bob gets stuff, but Walker too, not Captain America. America gets focus as well. And the themes of this movie isn't just like at the end, or isn't just at the beginning and at the end. It's sprinkled throughout the entire movie with all of the different characters and how Bob and the Void affects him, which I want to get onto that now, as it's kind of hard. So I was in the movie theater alone, and I had no idea of what this movie would be like. I didn't have any really expectations of this movie. I have no idea who the characters are, like genuinely, really. I've only seen them before. I don't know them in a deeper level. I don't know who the quote-unquote Thunderbolts are, if that's a comic book thing, but I will go into this movie blind, and immediately I noticed immediately that like this movie is going to be different. The MCU logo, Call on Cinema wins because Thunderbolts opening credits, the logo was different than the other MCU openings. And another thing I noticed on a rewatch is like actually the music. I mean, I noticed it the first time too, but like I was able to appreciate it more on a rewatch as well. The music, I honestly find the soundtrack, the original music in this movie, really well. Like the different themes, I thought they were very good. Yeah, so I go into this movie blind, and you can tell immediately that just from the opening too, not even like a screen, like a scene, the intro, it's completely different than other MCU movies. And then with the first scene, Yelena going over the mundanity of everything and like trying to forget and like lose herself, not think about things. And I'm going to now bore you guys with some of my experience, like my unique take on this. At the time, at the hotel work, we were getting like sometimes forced 10 plus hours of almost like hard labor. Even though we were just waiters, we were getting like 10 plus hours of hard labor. You would come back and you would not have any energy for anything, and you would just lay there. There were a few times I simply put my feet at the edge of the bed with my shoes on. Just like, I didn't even take a moment to take them off for a second. I just laid down for a second, and I ended up passing out a few times. I passed out for 2 or 3 hours, and then I woke up and I realized, oh shit, I fell asleep. And there are multiple days like that where you just come back and you just pass out, not having any time to yourself, not actually feeling anything. You're going to work, you're coming back, passing out, sleeping, and waking up again, and just to do it all over again. And it's like you're not making any progress with life. It's like you're stuck, you're not doing anything. And this movie just came out, dropped, and I ended up watching it at such a fitting time, at the perfect time. It fell for me, came out for me. And like at this hotel, working at this hotel all alone, not a single person I know. And I'm going to jump to almost basically the climax of the movie. Sometimes with the dialogue, honestly, like it's sort of 1 or 2 points it didn't feel exactly natural that the characters would say something like that, and it was more so for the writer to get to the theme rather than the characters naturally working up to the theme. But throughout the movie, they were building on multiple different themes, but like a lot of the main theme of the movie, the void, the hole within yourself, closing off from others. Once Yelena accepts facing Bob and facing Bob's void, or the shadow, whatever you want to call it, if you want to think about Jungian stuff. I'm not sure if that's actually counted as the shadow, but whatever. You can see Yelena, she's actually genuinely like a very compassionate person, even though like sometimes she puts up a facade, especially at the beginning in the compound, where like she obviously gives a fake answer on how she deals with her depression, because she herself doesn't realize it at the time. At the end, she finds Bob in the attic, I guess you could say. Yeah, that's his attic. I don't think it's his room. Whatever. And they just talk, and she just listens and shows compassion and like understanding. And sometimes all you need is for someone to be there. And later on, while they're going and then they're inside Bob's mind, right? His torture, whatever. His mind starts going erratic and like attacking everyone inside, and something like obvious parallel. He ends up explicitly saying something like, "Don't fight it." He says like, "It's okay. You can't die here. The pain only gets worse." And that's quite on the nose, but like quite apt, I suppose, for the feeling of this stuff. But on top of it, even more supporting of the themes was when the other characters, when Walker or Ghost come in and save everyone. And like the point is that with others it becomes easier. With help you can do it. If you open yourself, if you allow others to help you, it won't make the thing less bad, but it will make the thing easier. Right? Your grounded ship will have more water to lift it up, something like that. You could definitely find a better analogy. And again, building on top, as they go through the maze of like the attacking mind, they end up finally facing the void all itself, and this is where it honestly got me at the end. So they're in the science lab, and the void explicitly says like, "I'm stronger than you. You can't beat me. It's just you and me here," and forces the other characters away from Bob, and then Bob starts attacking the void and lashing out, being angry that this stuff happened to him. But being angry doesn't, I mean, sometimes you need that, but like it's just consuming him. And while Bob tackled the void and started attacking it, it just started to 100% solidify in my mind the themes and like the parallels I have been living with at the time. And yeah, that just honestly got me, and I was very glad that I was in a lonely theater all by myself so I could openly weep and bawl my eyes out. And then Yelena, or I think it was Red Guardian, helped, and Walker helped too, helped Yelena escape and went to go hug Bob. I remember, I'm not exactly sure if she was trying to get Bob off of the void or simply hug. Before I say that part, I want to mention it is a superhero movie, action movie, so as she goes up to Bob, she obviously has to do cool flips and tricks and stuff. I find that kind of funny. But anyway, she flips her way over to Bob and she hugs him, and eventually the other characters too come over too and hug him and get him out too. And he is still beating on the void, and the void is slowly consuming him. It's like an anger mix with a sadness. He starts crying as well as he's punching him. But the other characters, as they're hugging him, they simply say, "It's okay, I'm with you. It's okay, I'm with you." And that's all you need sometimes when you're alone and you don't have anyone else. You think you can be alone with all of your bad things, but honestly, sharing it and getting help, not even like necessarily help sometimes, like objectively, simply just listening, is all you need sometimes. Yeah, that's about most of what I want to talk about with the movie. The movie concludes with Veep trying to spin the situation, but then like her spinning doesn't really work, and the Thunderbolts turn it on them. I enjoyed the New Avengers sort of meta twist they did, but I would have appreciated if they kept it longer. If I recall correctly, it was like 1 week or 2 weeks that they kept up the facade and then like changed the name from Thunderbolts asterisk to the New Avengers. Personally, I prefer the Thunderbolts. That's what I would call it. The Thunderbolts with an asterisk, I will say. I prefer that a lot more over the New Avengers. But I also very, very much like the Thunderbolts style, or the New Avengers style end credits. I really like the propaganda posters. I really like that, pushing the Thunderbolts. Yeah, and in the end credits, there was a teaser for Fantastic Four, and I really liked that teaser. I was super excited for it. I wonder what they're going to do with that, how they're going to tie this stuff in. So yeah, that was everything I want to talk about with the Thunderbolts. Usually I For the longest while now, I've been trying out doing scripts for these movie reviews. Previously, it was just outlines, then it became scripts. And for this one here, I was struggling really, really hard and putting it off because of it. And I ended up sort of just forcing myself to talk about it. I know this turned out to be kind of a yapaholic review, but I really wanted to get this video out there, talk about my feelings at the time and also about this movie. So yeah, this is what I give the Thunderbolts. Here's a tier list. Here's a letterboxd. Please tell me what you guys think about the movie down below. In my opinion, the Thunderbolts is like a lot more emotional. I don't exactly think my rating is like a recency bias type situation. This movie genuinely didn't affect me, but like I think it's really good, like more than other movies. Definitely later on when I want to talk about the whole MCU as a whole, I have more to say about these types of emotional things. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the new Avengers, Thunderbolts, other MCU movies, how it's been recently. Did this movie hit well for you? Had hit a good time for you? I wonder that too, because I don't think I'm exactly alone. Definitely if the whole world wasn't in a sort of depressing mood recently, relatively recently now, I don't think this movie would have exactly come out like this, or I don't really think a movie like this would have come out. So yeah, thank you guys all for watching, listening to my yapping and emotional journey with this movie. Thank you all for listening and watching, and check me out on Twitter if you want, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.